All right, y'all. We're back in the building with season 17, episode 12 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. The episode is titled The Glow Up Cost. All right, so let's get into it. Shamia, girl, you are in danger. Let's just start off there. Shamia, girl, you in danger, girl. You in danger, girl. You are in danger. This episode reminded me of something that used to happen in high school. Now, I remember it happening in middle school distinctly a lot, but middle school was like 6 through 8. Why am I taking y'all back? Just trust me, walk with me here because some of y'all might remember this too. And I think it would also happen a bit in high school, maybe between ninth and 10th grade. I feel like when you started getting to your junior year, your senior year, you was really kind of like out of the mess for the most part and just kind of trying to get out, right? And I remember it would be like I remember this happening distinctly with the girls, okay? Now, I felt like when guys fought, I felt like they rarely fought in school. I would always hear about them fighting elsewhere, right? But in school, what would end up happening would be like there would be like this one girl, and I would always hear that the other girls had like jumped this one girl, and it would be like a different one girl, but it was usually like one or two girls, and they was always getting jumped. And I could never really figure out why the girls was getting jumped. And I just kept thinking to myself, number one, girl, why do you keep trying to hang out with these girls? They don't really like you. I remember thinking that way back in high school. I'm like, that don't really make any sense. Like, I mean, you would hear about it or you would see it, and you'd be like, dang, she got jumped. That was real. Now, also, as somebody who has also been jumped when I was younger, and you know what's crazy for me? I was a kid. I was like, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know why I'm fighting for my life right now. Why indeed am I fighting for my life? And I think maybe my own PTSD has me feeling a little up in arms for Shamia in this episode because I'm like, Shamia, girl, you are being jumped right now. Okay. You are being jumped and mollywopped in every direction. And you know what the problem is for me, I think, with Shamia is that she doesn't do anything to either really lethally defend herself, right? And what I mean by lethally defend herself is, I mean, she does not come with a read that is so hard that it karate chops and chokes the life out of whomever is coming from her for her. She doesn't have that sort of Kenya Moore, Nene Leakes, Candace, Monique Samuels season 5 reunion. She doesn't have that Teresa Judice level of, I will take on this entire room and I will not bat an eye. Okay. And what happens when you are able to do that is when you are either able to so lethally snap your opponent in these situations, then it just looks like you being jumped, right? There was probably one moment where I remember Kenya Moore just completely shutting down, right? That was this season that Portia had dragged her down to the ground, and Portia was already gone at this point, and the rest of the reunion, there was a point where she was just silent. Okay, that was probably the only moment where I've seen that happen. Where I've seen Nene shut down a couple of times too, but for the most part, many of these women, Teresa, you will never. Okay, I don't care what you do. I don't care how many people going up against her. She will not back down. You have got to have that level of energy because some of the most long-standing housewives, okay, have had this trial by fire that Shamia is having right now. So I don't want to, I'm not going to make Shamia the eternal victim in this situation because I think sometimes she does set herself up. And now it makes me go back to something that K. Michelle is actually smartly doing. K. Michelle says, I'm just sitting back and observing. And I think what happened with Shamia is she came in still on that. I told y'all she came in on that on this friend energy. So unfortunately, that friend energy did not win her any allies. They all distanced themselves from her when her main ally distanced herself from her, i.e., Porsha. Also, happy birthday, Porsha. Porsha is indeed a Cancer, which is why I oftentimes feel like I can understand Porsha's thought processes sometimes. Maybe it's a Cancer thing. I don't know. All right. But it is what it is. But I think that when Portia left, so did everyone else. And Shamia had not done enough observation of the landscape to truly understand that she was, in fact, in some way, shape, or form, alienating herself. Now, in this new season, it does feel very Mean Girls ish to a certain degree, but I also need for Shamia to do a better job of either A, standing up for herself, B, shutting down someone who is coming at her with some nonsense, or C, annihilating her opposition, the blind ops, as Angela called. Okay, Michelle. Okay. So, Shamia, I'm going to need you to do one of those three things. All right. You're going to need to figure it out. And when you go into this reunion, hear me and hear me well. Okay. Hear me and hear me well, because I want to address, let's get into the episode now. And as I do, I want you to eh, you need to think about whether or not you want to really do this or not. Because again, every long-standing housewife has had this trial by fire. Portia herself, the season after, I think it was season 10, after Phaedra left, going into season 10, I think had Nene come back at that season? And Portia was on an island by herself, and the girls were coming for her. Okay. So you've got to be able to roll with those punches, dip and dodge, figure out a way to either ignore you, and you got to figure out somebody to ignore. Okay. Somebody's beef with you can't give it life. I would choose Drew because y'all don't have a strong enough backstory, friendship, or otherwise to warrant what you guys are currently going through. So I would choose her. I can't do this with you. I will no longer acknowledge you. There's no point because you and Drew, there's no history there. That's not a knock to Drew. I'm just simply stating facts. Shamia, you got to pick and choose your battles. Okay. Some are not worth fighting. I don't even think this battle with Angela is worth fighting. The battle that is worth fighting, to me, is Cynthia. Let me get into why. Okay. I didn't like, first of all, I love me some cheekbones. Don't get me twisted right now. Don't get it twisted. I still go to bat for Cynthia, but I didn't like what she did in this episode. Okay. I didn't like how she ran right over Angela's house in the beginning of this episode and ran and told Angela, hey, girl, let me fill you in on the tea from my meeting with Shamia. Yeah, girl, she was telling me all about her mama's health issues and she ain't going to therapy or nothing like that for all these things she's going through with her surrogacy. How the F you going to have this woman over to your house to create a safe space for her to then for her to tell you, which we didn't even really see, I don't think her mention. I don't know if we heard her mention her mama. I know we heard her talk about the surrogacy. But how you be the first person to run and tell somebody about her issues, her mama issue, her health issues, and she ain't even told that to either the group or Angela. Number two, you know that Angela and her are beefing right now. So unless you were like Angela, I need you to go a little lighter on Shamia because she's going through a lot right now. That was not said. Okay. What was said was, yeah, girl, let me spill the tea for you. So you gonna run from, you've known this girl for how many years? That's why y'all had this conversation, right? At your house the other week. So you gonna run over there and tell her blind ops, her ops, or whatever the people call it these days. Like, you know they not getting along. So why would you go and tell her that information? And Angela, in the moment, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is gonna be a good event that they're coming up with because Cynthia's gonna do another Bailey Bowl in honor of Angela's mom, for which, listen, Angela and her mom, for me, like, I understand it. I understand it 100%. And so I thought in this episode it would be a lot more sentimental when we got to the event, but it was not. Okay. This event was full of shade. It seemed like it was fun because I did like the idea of how they put together this field day, but I would have thought that because of what we were honoring, that we would not want to also honor the drama. So to me, Shamia, your real beef is with your real friend or the person that you really have history with. That is Cynthia for going and spilling your tea to this woman who you would think in this instance, because it was related to the mamas, I thought that Angela was going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to put this to the side for the day, right? Just for the day at least. But no, that's not what happens. Furthermore, as we talk about Angela, let's talk about her and her daughter because her daughter comes over and they have a sit down ponderosa. Now, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I don't, for the life of me, really understand what the basis for their issue is. The only thing I will say is that I do know that when you lose a parent and then perhaps because now your child has also lost a grandparent, the waters of issues do get muddy and they do fester and bubble over into your relationships with other people and how you react to things. So I'm going to chalk it up to that. But by and large, I don't quite understand this relationship and this issue that Angela and her daughter are having, other than maybe mother daughter issues. Maybe, and ladies, maybe you can identify with that maybe a bit more from me with me. I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. I really, really don't. Because the prime issue here seems to be that Angela's therapist is telling Angela that Angela needs to have the daughter, Amari, tell the kids about her marriage to the woman. Now, let me think about this. And I had to really process this. If Amari was not comfortable telling you, Angela, then that's something that Amari is still dealing with. So, therapist lady, I don't know, okay? But you can't tell a person, particularly someone who is, and I only say this because I know, you can't tell a person who is trying to maybe either understand or how to present this information to the world. You can't tell them how and when they should tell who they should tell. Now, granted, do I think that it is necessarily Angela's job to tell the kids? I don't know. I mean, I get y'all on TV, and so they're gonna find out in some way, shape, or form. So y'all might as well and I said it last week. All y'all need to just sit down and have a conversation with the kids at this point. You, Amari, the girlfriend, Charles, all of y'all sit down and have a conversation, a family meeting, and that's just it. Call it Christmas, and boom, boom, shakalaka. This thing is over. But also, I want to be cognizant of Amari's journey with sexuality because I don't know what that is. And it's not explicitly stated how she feels about it because I don't know if that was the cause or the ultimate reason why she did not tell Angela she was married, or if it is more or less that she does not feel like Angela is her safe space. I don't know. All I do know is I don't know that Amari is ready to tell the younger brother and sister, but it kind of doesn't matter because the younger brother is eavesdropping right now anyway. So all of this seems much ado about nothing, and I quite don't understand what the issue is. So as they're going through therapy and whatnot, I'm on the fence because I don't know what to say about it. It don't make sense to me, but it don't got to make sense to me. Y'all know y'all got problems, so it's good that you in therapy. So please solve them. Next. All right. K Michelle goes to the doctor to see about her booty. And the doctor gives her some sage advice. No more implants, man. And I get it. K Michelle wants to have a nice derriere, and you deserve it after all of that you have gone through. Absolutely, you deserve a booty that do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Uh, you might want to Turk along with Shamia at some point. I really don't know. All I know is, K Michelle, you too deserve a nice booty. And so I'm glad that the doctor advises this fat transfer from someplace else or whatever the case may be. Wherever you're gonna get your fat from, as long as it's safe and healthy, I'm here for it, K Michelle. K Michelle, I liked her a lot in this episode, and I feel like there was a slight turn, maybe, in her demeanor. But now that I'm watching a pattern of her behavior, I feel like I understand her a lot more. But I'm gonna wait to see how things play out, because I will reserve my final judgment for the end of the season and her performance at the reunion. Okay? I want her to show up. And I don't want K Michelle. What I don't want for you, K Michelle, is I don't want you to let this first season obstruct you from coming back and really doing, as the girls say on this show, your big one as a housewife. Because I think that I understand that you want to navigate this situation. And so I'm curious to see how this continues to play out for you. Yeah, let's continue on that path. Kelly goes to meet with a financial advisor, and then she meets with a realtor later. Okay. Now I had to go back and I watched this over again. Okay, let me just let you guys know that, because I had to pull out the fine details of this episode. So Kelly's meeting with the financial advisor, and I like him a lot because he was super honest with her about, girl, what's going on here. So let's break it all down for you. Okay, Kelly is paying 2,000 a month for a Range Rover. She's got 600 a month in insurance. She's spending $2,500 per month in beauty and makeup. Her hair costs $3,000 per month. Shopping for clothes costs $8,500 per month. There's a dog wig in here for about 500. And the total that they initially said in the episode last night was that she was spending about $2,200 per month. No, I'm sorry, $22,000 per month in expenses. The one location is bringing in about 75,000 per month, and the other location that is not doing so well is bringing in about 15,000 per month. Now, when you factor in employees, food costs, overhead, all the other things, it's kind of like, girl, like, in my mind, the smart play is either you're going to have to pump some major advertising into that second business in order to make that work. But with all of these legal fees, I just would wonder if maybe it would just be better to just close it. Now, I don't know what the losses for that are going to look like, but I just think it would take a lot of the stress off of your back, and to really put all of your energy and focus into the one location and make that the best that it possibly can be, since that one is seemingly thriving. It's probably the location. Um, let's go into these expenses real quick, because $2,000 a month, I don't, is that a lease or is that what you owe on the car for the Range Rover? Because, girl, it might be time to downsize or sell that, or potentially, okay, refinance that bad mama channel. All right, you got to get that thing down. 2,000 is a lot of money per month. And I listen, I don't have a Range Rover. So for me, I'm like, I'm not spending the, you know what's funny? I've never been the car guy. So I have had specific cars that I've wanted. A Honda Accord will take you far and long, Kelly. A Honda Accord will take you far and long. And I know it ain't the most glamorous vehicle, but girl, you better hop up in one of these SUVs that they be giving the girls for y'all scenes and whatnot, and just worry about that and keep it pushing. Now the $600 per month, I can't even. I'm sure you could find something cheaper. I got a little program that you can find something cheaper on if you need, girl. It's part of our travel membership. You can probably, I would guarantee, you can find something way less than $600 a month. Beauty and makeup is 2,500. I'm not gonna hold you on that one, because I understand that this is a cost that could be associated with the show. So I'm gonna let that one slide. But you might want to start learning how to do your own makeup a little bit. Or learn. Watch a YouTube tutorial or something like that. The girls be doing all kinds of tutorials on the TikTok and Instagram now too. So you can get those for free. But I do get it. But you could probably find somebody cheaper. Now, it may not be as good, and you definitely want to pay your people. You definitely want to pay your people. I saw online, it was a girl doing I think she was putting on lashes on people in her car. And the price was I mean, the price was looking at $60 or something. So I don't know. I all I know is it's ways around this thing, allegedly. Hair is 3,000. I ain't gonna hold you on that one either because I'm assuming you got to be getting your hair done for the show. So I'm gonna let that one slide, but some of these need to fall under business expenses as well. You might want to get some wigs. You better go down do some go nakeds and call it Christmas. A good go naked, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. I would be sneaking get me some bundles from down in Portia's hair emporium. Pampered by Porsha. I might be in her sheets and girl, you might need to be in her sheets and her hair at this point. You might need the sponsorship at this point because it might just be better for you to just I'm trying to let's save some money. That's all I'm saying. Let's save some money. The dog wigs, girl, take them wigs off that dog and let that dog be a dog. And I like that the account said, I because she says you're aggressive. And the accountant says, I'm not your friend, I'm your accountant. Boom. So later on, she goes to see a realtor and they're looking at a $7,000 house. Girl, you don't need a house with an elevator. I don't even understand why you're moving out of Shamia's house. You just moved in there last week. So why not? If I'm really trying to save some money, Shamia said you can stay here as long as you want. Guess who will be staying there long? Ding, 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 Shawnee. I would be there for the rest of the year. Okay. I might be there for the next 2 years. I would formulate a plan because if you're staying for the free 99, you crazy for moving. Okay. That's crazy work. I would stay there. If she's saying, hey girl, stay in my place. But if she's saying pay me, I know Shamia ain't charging you nothing. Okay. She probably charging you $199 per month. You probably paying Bali prices over here down here in Atlanta. All right. So I will go ahead and stay in Shamia's house, save yourself all of this money because you are about to look at a $7,000 per month house for what? And then you ask the realtor, well, girl, what you think? And the realtor's like, girl, no. Like, I'm showing you this house, but it's really for nothing because I'm showing you so that I can get some. So I'm showing you for my screen time. But let me tell you what to do. You cannot afford this house. Okay. Your budget is $4,000. You actually might want to chop that down to two. Go stay at Shamia's, pay $199. I don't know if that's what Shamia charging, but I guarantee you it's definitely cheaper than $4,000 per month. Go stay at that townhouse, girl. Stay at that townhouse and keep it pushing. I know the girls on the show might see it, but at the end of the day, what I will say about Kelli is this. Kelli, baby, you was a bad mama jamma for opening up your wallet in this way. All right. I definitely don't know that I would have wanted to do it, especially because you were just spending what appeared to be almost $20,000 for purses for your daughter's birthday or whatever it was, birthday, graduation, whatever that thing was. I don't know. And you got a $70,000 mouth. I've seen some of y'all comments say it was $7,000. Now, if she's got some porcelain veneers, I'm gonna assume that's more than $7,000. Unless she went down unless she went down into one of these other countries, which is where I would go. But anyway, y'all ain't seen me with a new set of chompers yet, so clearly I ain't been. Meanwhile, and I definitely ain't spending $70,000. So if you want to drop $70,000 on my chompers, then okay. Again, I told y'all last week, the girl is blessed. Girl, you better take some of these blessings, cash in on them, and so you can save yourself some money. Get yourself go naked hair, change that car, get some cheaper stylists and whatnot, and the peoples. Stop them dog wigs. Shop and girl, for real, stop shopping for clothes. Y'all know I ain't bought no clothes in I don't even know how long. I am sure you got a wardrobe full of clothes that you don't need to keep shopping and shopping and shopping and shopping for what? You better rent the runway on them. Rent that runway. My God, today. No, do not keep doing this to yourself, girl. You better rent that runway and you better rent it fast. Got yourself out here looking like you cosplaying a prostitution, like Phaedra said. Showing up to the basketball game in your high heels and your socks. Then talking about I don't wear tennis shoes. That might be, you might want to sell some of those high heels. Just saying. Unless you're getting the Jessica Simpson specials, the girls seem to go crazy over some Jessica Simpsons. All right. All I'm saying is, Kelly, there's a better way to do this. I admire you for your transparency. I'm gonna give you that, but I want you to win, girl, because we've all been through these hard times before, and you just fight your way through it, babe. You just got to fight your way through it, and it'll feel rocky and rough for a little bit, rocky and rough for a little bit, but you're gonna make it. All right. Speaking of finances, Porsha is moving Mama Diane out of Mama Diane's house, which is Porsha's old house. There was some talk about there was a selling of the house, all cash offer, equity on the new house. I try not to look at the comments too much with regards to the episode because I don't really like my opinion colored by the things that I see. And sometimes when I read the people's comments, I be like, oh my God. Like it just I be like, that's how y'all think. That's how y'all like y'all be saying like some people be saying the nastiest stuff. I be like, oh my God. I gotta like mentally cleanse my mind after reading some of the comments sometimes. But there were some people saying that the math wasn't mathing on that. Now, as a homeowner, I cannot really say whether or not I understood it. And I can't say whether I was that invested in the story to really quite catch everything that she said. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, girl. If you like it, I love it, and we're gonna keep it pushing. Well, I don't know where is Mama Diane moving in with you? Because it seems like at this point you might want to move Mama Diane in with you in your $7 million home. Because I'm sure there's a West Wing somewhere where she can be far off into the nether reaches of that castle so that you don't have to actually see her until you want to, but for her to be there for her to babysit. Finally, we get to the event of the day, which is going to be the Bailey Bowl in honor of Angela's mother, which I think is a great idea. Now, also, this is serendipitous because it is also happening the same week that the Knicks end up winning. So the airing of this episode and it being so much about Angela and featuring Charles and featuring basketball, I think it really is serendipitous. And I know that this has to be a moment for him and for her. So I do want to acknowledge that because I think that there's something to be said about just to see it come full circle. I'm sure that kind of gave her chills to watch this episode and then to see what to kind of experience what they've experienced this past week with the Knicks win. So shout out to them. I did feel like the names were overtly messy, but this is really nothing new for Housewives. So I'm not gonna Blind Ops was wild for K Michelle. I was like, K Michelle, this your friend that you be bragging about how close y'all are? She called you Blind Ops, girl. That was crazy work. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It was crazy work. Now, K Michelle, she did take it in stride. I think it's probably too because maybe she doesn't really see Angela as a threat, right? Either that or she hit it well in the moment because K Michelle seems very sensitive. All right. Kelly gets titled Minions. Drew is Delulu, which is kind of cool. Oh. Let's go back because there is a moment of business partnership that arises with Porsha and K Michelle. Not K Michelle, with Drew. Drew arrives over to Porsha's house with to eat some wings, some lemon pepper wings, and have some healthy drinks or whatever like that. So they get to talking. Drew asks her about getting banned from Nigeria or whatever, because there was an article that came out about Simon allegedly taking her sponsorship away so she can no longer, I guess, become a Nigerian citizen. If I've gotten that incorrect, I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments, and I'm totally cool with it because Go for it. But anyway, I thought it was interesting that Porsha didn't get upset about Drew mentioning this, but perhaps it's because she's already done with Simon at this point, and it really wasn't. It was funny to watch them talk about it. I'm not even gonna lie, it was funny. I did laugh at this scene. It was also interesting to see so many people have these issues because they say that, well, Shamia was the one who came at Drew for Porsha. So that's why Drew has so much angst for Shamia now. I've seen that. I've seen that comment. But the flashback shows that, as I didn't remember this, but then it reminded us that there were dual issues that Porsha had with Drew at the time. One was the Dennis. There were three. One, Drew was working with Dennis, but had not really spoken with Dennis, with Porsha about it properly, according to the people. Two was there was a rumor that Drew was dating Dennis. Okay. That was what Shamia was asking about. Three was that Porsha did not appreciate Drew doing a photo shoot for the Go Naked influencing that she was doing, which I don't understand why that would be a problem because it's going to equate to maybe more sales of the line. So why is that a problem? Anybody would do that. So I really don't know. So it was interesting to flash back to that and to see fast forward how this partnership has come to work. Drew is like, well, I'll have my people talk to your people and then we'll get it settled. All right, cool. Okay, so let's get to the event of the evening. Phaedra brought Apollo's son. Is his name Trey? I think that's his name. I was like, oh, wow. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what the relationship is between Phaedra and Apollo, but this clearly shows that there is at least some level of familiarity and okayness with at least her and him and his kids and his family. So I like that. I like seeing that. I wish we could explore that a little bit more because we just get comedy from Phaedra, and I'm cool with a little comedy and lightheartedness. So I guess we just have to kind of settle for that. Let's get to the aftermath of the basketball tournament. So Angela's team wins, and Angela's like, well, guys, thank you so much for, this is in memoriam of my mom. But Shamia, where's Gerald? And I'm like, Shamia, for her part, there are some comments that I do need to make. Does Shamia have a nail salon in her home? Because if so, I was like, that's pretty fire. Shamia did mention to her mom, I know you have some health issues, so I am concerned about that. So then this is when we hear about those health issues. And now, if those health issues have been spoken about before, I missed it. But the nail tech is like, oh yeah, because these girls gonna be whacking you upside the head in Scotland. Am I surprised that the nail tech knows about Shamia's issues with the girls? No, because as I understand it, people and their hair and nail people tend to know all the tea. So it's being filmed for the scene. So I'm not really surprised that she knows what's going on. It doesn't surprise me at all. Meanwhile, back at the ranch at the event, as Angela walks from 1 second to memoriam for her mom to confronting Shamia because Cynthia told Angela that Shamia told her that Angela was coming for her marriage. And Angela's coming for your marriage? I wasn't coming for your marriage. I was coming for you. And it's like, are you coming for the marriage? No, technically, but it's definitely could have an impact on the marriage and maybe the girl's career. I don't know. Maybe not. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. But at the end of the day, Shamia did also say Charles was outside. So I get why Angela is probably like 2 for 2, tit for tat, toe for toe, Sasquatch for Bigfoot. It is what it is. Let's go. It's fair game now, right? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? So Shamia then says, "Oh yeah, you did F on some players, and then you found one." And I think she referred to Charles joking about Angela. Either remember Charles made a joke about Angela either putting something in his drink or something. I don't really remember. I think Shamia referenced that. I kept trying to pause the screen and see the transcript from the closed caption, but I couldn't really read it. But when they posted it to BravoTV.com, they left out what Shamia said. And then Phaedra says, "Well, that's usually how it works." And I was like, "Is that what we're saying?" So did anybody else notice that? I couldn't tell if it was it just me, but I felt like, and when I pause it, and they only show it for a second, I guarantee you, if you go back and you try to rewind it with the closed caption on, you're gonna have a hard time trying to get the remote to pause right there. Because I watched it on Peacock this morning, and I rewound that thing about 10 times. Then somehow Porsha gets brought into this. And Angela says, "Well, I will never bring you up with Shamia ever again. My issues with Shamia will remain my issues with Shamia." And I'm like, sometimes I just be like, Angela, I wish that you had the same cojones for Porsha that you do for Shamia. When I think about the punishment and the crime here, I don't know who would be worse. Okay. The person who says your husband is outside, or the person who says that they would sleep with your husband. Okay. Now I know everybody's over that. Okay. I see a lot of people, a lot of y'all are over that. Okay. I'm cool with it. If you're over it, I wish that Angela was over it too, because I wish that she was over this beef with Shamia as much as she's over what Porsha said about F and Charles. Even though I don't think that Porsha wants to, I don't think that Portia's thinking about Charles Oakley. I really don't. I really don't. But I don't know why you would not have smoke for a woman who said that, and you would have, but you have smoke with her friend who did who laughed at it. The math never maths with me with Angela's extreme disdain for Shamia when she's so easily able to move past whatever happened with her and Phaedra. And mind you, that is the other big issue that she has with Shamia, is that Shamia thought that Angela made up the issue. So the people told you it was Phaedra. But your issue was that Shamia did an interview last year? I rewound that too. Shout out to Leah from Leah's Lemonade too. Leah is a bad mama jamma, okay? Shout out to Leah from Leah's Lemonade, okay? I just noticed, I know this industry, so I understand like how it's not always easy in this industry, and Leah is just like turning it. I can appreciate it. It gives me chills to watch. I love it. You're upset about an interview that was done last year? Last year, girl? I can't. I can't. To me, I just feel like I don't know if Angela, I don't know if you just don't have anything else to do, but you have enough story. You really do. Like, you don't even need this beef right now. You don't. And I agree with K Michelle. Girl, there are plenty of other issues based on what is based on what the day is. Okay? That is my thing. Not that all of these ladies don't have issues, so they shouldn't necessarily be arguing. It is that this event is what is the one that you're choosing to go at it with this girl about some mess, some silly mess. Then Drew jumps in it with her, and I'm like, all right, cool, I get it. You know, we can all react to it. But Shamia, you've got to learn to either ignore that, because you and Drew's issue, I don't care about it, because you guys were never really friends. We never had history there. We never saw anything. There's nothing there. There's nothing for me to be excited about. Similar with you and Angie. Angela, you're probably just never going to be friends. Maybe you're oil and water. I don't know at this point. But at a certain point, Shamia, you've got to learn how to put your foot down and say, listen, I'm not doing this with you today. This is the day that I came to celebrate you and to celebrate your mom. Speaking of which, Shamia, I also have another issue with you is, girl, why would you tell that girl's daughter that she's nicer than her mom? Like, that girl could have reached out and popped you. You don't know what somebody's going to say or do. So if you don't want nobody to say nothing to your mama, then you should not say nothing to nobody's daughter about how they are with you. Okay. Leave that between you and Angela, or because at the end of the day, you don't want nobody saying nothing crazy about your mama or to your mama about you. Because that girl could have went off. She could have went off. Not today, girl. Right? Because not only is Amari dealing with the issues with her mom, she's also dealing with the loss of her grandma. Like, girl, not today. No. So, Shamia, we got to work on you and your timing too. You're not doing yourself no favors, girl. I'm trying to help you every week. Every week. So, Drew and Shamia get into it about the lapdog comment. Something still don't, and you know what? Something don't sit right with me with this girl, with them calling this girl a dog. But because they calling each other animals, I can't really get too deep with it. But right now it just feels like Shamia getting jumped. And the reason I say that is because she does not put up the best defense. Okay. If she was turning into Megatron, okay, and blocking all these hits and doing a matrix on them, I would feel a little bit better about it. But I'm just like, girl, they beating you up. They tearing you up. Now, granted, you trying. I see you over there. You scrapping a little bit, but you windmilling. You cannot windmill with these girls. So stop. You're gonna have to learn how to box verbally. You know what I'm saying, right? You gotta learn how to box so verbally that you put the fear of the Lord in them. And you ain't got that yet. Okay. You gotta learn how to like, oh snap, I can't mess with her no more. You ain't mastered that yet. So until you master that, girl, shut them down. I'm not doing this with you today. Okay. You don't have no real beef with me. So we're not talking. I'm not talking to you. Anytime somebody speak to you that you're not talking to, they are a distraction. Okay. You need to stay laser focused on one target and one target only at a time. You got to ignore anything else. Okay. So when it comes up, because Porsha's like, oh, how am I in it? Right. And I get it because Porsha is like, this ain't got nothing to do with me. Y'all arguing, but I feel like they're really arguing in honor of Porsha. No, that has nothing to do with, I don't think that it has anything to do with Porsha. I don't think Porsha is sending these people for Shamia. I just think that they're doing it in honor of Porsha. That's what I think. It's in honor of or because they can't get to, right? Angela's not going to go toe to toe with Porsha because I just don't feel like she has it. I don't think that she wants to do that. I don't know why. Could she? She probably could. I think that Angela's tough. But in this episode, it just all felt mean. All right. So then when asked about, well, whose lapdog is Shamia in this instance, Drew is like, girl, you were supposed to say K. Michelle at that point. At that point, it wasn't Porsha. Now Portia's thinking it's her again, but no, you were calling her K. Michelle's lapdog. Address that issue. But we don't. What we do have is no beef eating Pinky bringing up the beef between K. Michelle and Shamia. I'm kind of like, are you okay? I get it. You gotta like shake the table a little bit on him. But I was just like, dang, she ain't getting beat up enough. Pinky said, I don't think she really got beat down. Let me see how I can throw a little bit of veggie sauce on top of her wounds. K. Michelle, you and Shamia good, right? Shamia's like, what now? K. Michelle's like, my name is Bennett. I'm not in it today. I don't like what's happening right now. All of these girls are coming at Shamia, and if she's my friend, I will deal with her on my own. And I respected that. That was where I felt like, yeah, I agree with you, K. Michelle. here we are piling on again. And again, it's mostly because I feel like Shamia doesn't put up a good enough defense for herself. And so I feel like she's just struggling, man. And she's windmilling. As Phaedra says, "Hey girls, let's just calm it down. Let's just go to Scotland." Um, Angela's like, "Let's go to Scotland." And if I'm you, Shamia, I'm not going to Scotland. I am not going. Because if you don't go to Scotland, there will be no problems for the group. And they won't have much to do. So if I were you, I would not go to Scotland. In fact, I would advise you, if I was way back in high school, them girls don't like you. So as you crying in your confessional, there's a part of me that feels bad for you. There's a part of me that doesn't. Because the part of me that doesn't says, if you know that these people don't like you, either you are going to have to all the way toughen up and you are going to have to give them a reason to not like you and be okay with it, or you are going to have to make a difficult decision and determine really if mentally you are really, really ready for this arena. Because if not, that is okay too. That is okay. It is absolutely okay. Because not everybody is meant to do this in this way, but everyone will, in some way, shape, or form, have a trial by fire. And if you want to be a long-standing person in this game, you are going to have to figure it out and come out swinging or either ride off into the sunset with your riches. All right. With that being said, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Also hit that like button too. And for those of you guys that have not picked up the Faceless content blueprint, it is in the link in the description. Okay. It is the full class. I redid everything on Friday, took the day off to just make sure that I had everything included, edited, all the resources are added for you. I walk you through exactly what my processes are. I tell you what I've done. I show you behind the scenes of one of my channels. So you have all the information that you need. There are templates. I walk you through the content creation process of creating faceless content so that you can actually go and do it on your own. Just put it all together for yourself and then determine what you want to do. And then boom, act on it. Okay. So that is going to be in the pinned comments of this video. And it's also going to be in the description of this video as well. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.